Hello everyone, welcome to our 7th demo in drawing class. Today we're going to be talking about subtractive drawing, reductive drawing. We're going to make an image completely black and we're going to go and subtract, erase all of our highlights. So kind of the opposite of what we did last time. So the first thing I'm going to do before I go and I start to make my complete paper black, absolutely black, the first thing I'm going to do, because it's going to be really messy to do that, is I'm going to make a nice border for my image. So I'm measuring 1 inch around my entire image. I'm making little tick marks, 1 inch on one side, 1 inch on the other side. So I'm going to use that to line up my ruler and to go draw a nice border around the image. So I'm doing this on every side. So our images are going to be a little bit smaller this time. But it's important we make this nice border around the outside so we can go and actually have our values go all the way out to the edge. Okay, so I've made my tick marks. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go line up 1 tick mark from one side and 1 tick mark on the other side and make a straight line. So I'm going to do that all the way around and make my frame. So you might have been in 2D design class where you're doing this on Bristol board. We're going to be doing this on our drawing paper. We're going to do this all the way around so we have a nice frame for our image. So it's going to be really important we have a nice frame so then we can shade inside that frame. So you can shade with any type of graphite. I would recommend maybe using something a little bit softer, like maybe a 2B. But you can use a graphite pencil and shade it out like this. It might take a little bit of time. You're going to have to go over it several different directions, but we're going to shade it nice and dark black. A hack is if you have a drawing stick, like a graphite stick, you can use that graphite stick and rub over the image a couple different directions and get black a lot quicker. So as I was rubbing on this cutting mat, I realized I was picking up some of the texture. Every line that had been cut, that screen printed grid that's on that cutting mat, all those little tiny textures were starting to pick up on that piece of paper. So what you're going to have to do when you do this is you probably need to find a nice smooth surface to actually do this on. I started to do this, quickly found out that it wasn't going to work, so I went and did it off camera in a few minutes on a smoother surface. So we're going to go over this thing, slowly build it up to it's completely black, as dark as the paper will let us get. So yeah, you can notice there's little cuts, little lines. And then I went, shaded my whole thing black, got my hands really dirty. So a little tip too is if you're working with a white vinyl eraser and you want to get a finer point, get more detail, you can take an X-Acto knife and cut a little finer point. So I am drawing another ant, and what I'm going to be doing is using my white vinyl eraser to completely remove the graphite on the paper, working reductively. So we're going to be actually finding our highlights, erasing our highlights, and leaving the shadows. So I quickly started to do a gesture drawing. I kind of roughed out some sections of the ant that I wanted to focus on, and then I started to go and really erase the background, erase the really bright white background, leaving the darker ant. So you can see as I'm doing this, I'm switching back and forth between eraser and pencil. So I'm using that eraser to go pull out highlights, and if I go and I erase too much, I'm using my pencil to go shade back. So I'm going around figuring out that form, figuring out cast shadows on the ground, and I'm using different types of pencils. I'm using a softer pencil if I want to make things a little bit darker. I'm using my kneaded eraser if I'm wanting to go and just remove just a little bit of value. So I'm working back and forth, using the eraser to remove things, the pencil to add stuff back. So here's a shot of my dirty hand after I got done with the drawing. Make sure you're using a guard when you're doing this, so you're not getting super messy, but you will get messy. Here's the final drawing of my ant. We can see there's a pretty wide range of value there. So I'm looking for and drawing, that full range of value, all 9 steps. We have cast shadows to highlights. You can see within that drawing that I went and shaded in darker values with a softer pencil. But the steps we're going to do is we're going to first make a frame, shade the drawing completely black. Then we're going to use our eraser to go and pull out the highlights. If we shade too much, we can always go and use our pencil to add some details back in there. So hopefully this interactive process is making sense, where we start from completely black and we erase our highlights. This is going to get our brain thinking about value in a different way. So that's why we kind of do this exercise. So this drawing right here, I would probably still add some more detail to. It's not completely finished drawing, but hopefully the gist of how we're going to be working makes sense. If you got questions, email me, message me. We can always Zoom, or I'll see you in person. We'll be working on these together. Okay, well, y'all take care. See you soon.